John Cena next to the most giant, freakish man I've ever seen. That's Marcus Ruhl. You can see him. This is wide as a house.
Marcus got some body parts. Holy crap. Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for RP Strength. I've been a longtime professor of exercise and sports science. I am a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. That's Brazilian. And I'm a competitive bodybuilder, and I lift things and I teach people about how to lift and eat and all that stuff. But I am but a small child in this world because there have been rumors, dare I say whispers, of mass monsters from deep in our dark bodybuilding past. JK, it wasn't that long ago. Just a few years back, there was a monster that roamed the earth, and his name was Marcus Ruhl. And so I'm gonna get my Arnold impression going and probably do most of this video in the impression because there's only ever been one German-speaking bodybuilder that's the best. Me, Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right, let's see this Marcus Ruhl fella. Go.
Marcus Ruhl was one of the biggest freaks ever.
He made everyone look small.
Yikes. He big. Ronnie sees him. He big as hell. What am I supposed to do about this? Just kidding. 8 Mr. Olympias later.
Even Jay Cutler.
Him next to Jay Cutler's a trip. Jay is definitely thicker and stockier, but Marcus got some body parts. Holy crap.
And Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, compares well to the best. So Marcus Ruhl competed typically in the 270 to 280s pounds range on stage. He was about like 5'10", I think, 5'11". So insanely large. And he had so much muscle in his upper back and chest and shoulders. I just don't know how he really lived his life because there's a lot of like movement you can't do anymore. But let's take a look at his training. Let's take a look at maybe, Scott, is there any diet in here?
At the very end, there's a really fun diet thing.
Excellent.
Thunfisch protein shake. Hi, I'm Marcus Ruhl from Germany. I'm 27 years old.
27 years old. He sounds way less like Arnold and way more like European guy, doesn't he, Scott?
Yeah.
And so, you know, bodybuilding is very serious for me, but every now and again, let's smoke a cigarette. By the way, he smokes cigarettes, and I think still does. And this is very cool. I drive a Volkswagen. This is the people's cars, nothing too major. And I really care about the environment. But in any case, I'm about 125 kilos. So that is how the Europeans live life. It's okay, American, you take things so seriously. Relax a little bit.
And I do bodybuilding since 9 years ago.
Damn, 9 years and voila. This is actually young Marcus Ruhl. Scott, you really dug into this shit, huh?
Yeah, we have the full swath of ages from him.
I love it.
The key to build these big muscles are hard training.
I can't get enough of the word muscles. Yes, your muscles, they're in your body, and they're pretty European as well. All right, what's the key? Hard training. Okay, what else?
Good eat. And I live bodybuilding every day. I do 2 times a day.
2 times a day workout. All right, Jared Feather.
I train hard and heavy. And I live bodybuilding every day because I sleep a lot. I live good. Drink no alcohol, no smoking, and...
No smoking? Come on, Marcus. You got to lighten up a little bit. Yeah, alcohol sucks. Alcohol is antithetical to gains. It is really bad for muscle growth because it directly chemically inhibits muscle growth. It also prevents really good sleep and a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, the alcohol stuff is really wise. Like, why am I saying this? A lot of guys will want to be Marcus's size, and they'll say, damn, that guy's huge. How do I get there? You're like, well, you actually have to live your life like a machine and think about training and recovery, and that's just kind of it. And a lot of people don't have time for that, but a lot of people don't have time to have pecs that big anyway.
And that's good for me. I can do better workout, and it's better for the muscles. You can sleep enough. You can do more workout, harder and heavier ever I can.
Dude, great technique, huh? Amazing technique on the lateral raises. Really good control. This is, I think, just pump work for the camera. I don't think he's really training. He typically trains a lot harder than this, but sometimes guys do pump work and their technique still sucks. I also love the pec striations in every conceivable part of his body. That's kind of dope. But yeah, great lateral raise technique, slow and controlled, nice and high, full range of motion, no swinging. This is really good stuff.
I can build more muscles and bigger muscles now.
Holy fuck. How do I get my mid back to look like that? Ooh, this is interesting. This is very recent. This is older Marcus. This is a real clever way to do lat pull downs. You know, sometimes you get into these gyms, and this is clearly like kind of a hotel gym situation, and there's not like an actual lat pull down situations. There's like a cable tricep push down thing, and then if you wheel in a bench and set up the angle, you can play with a variety of different angles to see if it's a higher or lower angle that hits your lats better. And this is quite a good way of training. I've done this before. I don't love it. I get weird, like at the very bottom, my legs start to shift or my center of gravity shifts, but this is a fine way to do them. Ooh, dude, some underhand lat pull downs can feel fire every now and again. I really can't hate them at all. A great way to do the setup as well. Scott, what are those laying down there?
Oh, you know, Daddy.
Oh, snap. Versa grips. Yeah, Versa grips would be great for an exercise like this and a bunch of these other exercises. I think Marcus uses them throughout his training career. The big deal with Versa grips is like, they're not magical. Well, okay, they're sort of magical. They are just doing one thing. They are a grip assistance device. So you wrap them around any barbell or dumbbell, and you wrap them tight and then cinch your hand over them. Once that happens, it's such a high friction material that they're using that your grip is unlikely to even feel like it's loosening up in most cases. And it's almost certainly not going to just let go. And that gives you two things. The ability to do more reps and not be limited by your grip, which means that you get really, really close to failure for the actual target muscle like the lats and aren't just letting go because your forearms are going. But it also gives you the confidence that your grip is a non-issue, which is a big deal because from a central drive perspective, having the confidence that your grip won't let go actually makes you try harder for the target muscle and get even further into that failure window. And in addition to that, it also allows you to connect with that muscle more and really practice really good technique and that mind-muscle connection. Because if you're desperately clinging on with the tips of your fingers, all of your mental energy, or a lot of it, goes to like, just don't let go. Oh no, yeah, and pull it down, I guess. But if you're cinched in with Versas and you know your grip's going nowhere, you can stop thinking about your grip in large regard and start thinking about taking the tip of your elbow and driving it down towards your hip and start envisioning your lats contracting and billowing in, and then envisioning them stretching and pulling and getting a super awesome stretch at the bottom under heavy load. Connecting with your muscles like that can be an advantage if they're a weak point, you're really trying to get into it, or if you have trouble connecting with it anyway. And so Versa grips, not only do they let you do more reps, not only do they let the grip completely out of the equation, but it's that confidence in your grip and that ability to focus on the target muscle. That's one of those little minor benefits of Versa grips that really, really, really pays the bills. And because Versa grips cost like $1 trillion, you're going to need that shit because you're not going to have any money for your bills. I'm kidding. They're actually quite reasonably priced, and we've got a whole code and a link in the description for you guys to buy. We do have custom RP branded Versa grips, yes?
We sure do.
We sure do. Give those a look. Ooh. I've actually never seen anyone do one-arm rows like this. Typically, people will prop their arm up or they'll prop up on just their own knee. A lot of times people will do two-arm chest supported rows where they do one dumbbell in each hand. This is kind of a cool combo of chest support and dumbbell row. This is really neat. It allows him to get a full stretch. It doesn't allow for as much body English and whacking and waving. He's got his hand on the other hook there, securing. I hope he doesn't pull that out by accident because he's taken a fall. But this is really kind of neat. I like it. I would suggest you guys give this a shot. I might give it a shot. Yeah, notice he's controlling all the way through that bottom and taking some time. He's not pulsing out of the bottom. He's actually resting in the bottom, so to speak, gathering his strength for another rep. But just by resting in the bottom like that, there's nothing helping him. His muscles in the back are being tensed greatly under a huge amount of load, and that adds muscle growth. This is a very, very good technique. Oh,
Ende Februar.
Yeah, whatever. 4-plate shoulder press to the chin. God damn. You guys, one does not simply. And by the way, just to illustrate a point of when you have some big muscles, they take over everything, his chest is also working. High incline press, he's arched and his pecs look just billowed out. They're accepting a ton of that tension. I love it. It's like no matter what Marcus Ruhl does, chest is somehow involved.
Daran kann man schon sehen, wie viele Monate.
I would typically say that it's probably a good idea for him to go lower. because there's more growth down there. But when dealing with someone Marcus Ruhl's size, I have to ask if it's even possible for him mobility-wise. Maybe, but maybe the reality is he's going just about as low as his joints can take because his muscles are so big, he's so bound up, he can't go any lower. That may very well be a thing. So again, a little bit of reverence of, yeah, for you folks watching at home, go all the way down to the top of your chest almost every single time. But if you're so gigantic that your muscles get in the way, that might not be a reality for you. Oh, beautiful. Look at that control. So you need VersaGrips for this because you cannot overhand hold something for that long. This is great. So you'll notice he has a hand on a hip just to get the hand out of the way and get some balance going. He's coming in front of his body to get that nasty stretch on the shoulders, and he's controlling all the way through, and he's coming up nice and high to get that full range of motion. Marcus Ruhl knows how to fucking train, man. Brutal. I can't see his shoulders though because they were camouflaged. So interesting push down style. Let me talk about this. He's pushing out with really flared elbows, which means he's also using a lot of chest. And people would say, well, look, push downs, you got to click your elbows in and you got to push down in front of you. And that's totally true. Getting your elbows in oftentimes cues only tricep activity. But if you can use more chest volume, if that's in your plan to be able to accept that kind of fatigue, you'll notice that there's biomechanically no good reason to discount this exercise. You say, how would we discount this exercise? What would we say that's bad about it? Well, he's using his chest. Okay, fine. But like you use your glutes during squatting, we're not saying it's bad for your quads. So let's re-architect our position to be like, okay, what is the target muscle doing? The target muscle is producing a ton of force. Notice how deep of a stretch he's in at the very top. His forearm is touching his bicep. His tricep is at a maximum position of tension, and that's really, really good. The elbow flare is just bringing in the chest, but it's not taking the triceps away. And notice he doesn't have a wide grip. He's a very narrow grip. And so at the very top here, you can get a ton of stretch on the tricep. A lot of times pro bodybuilders are so big, this is the only variant they can actually do, because people would say to Marcus, well, tuck your elbows in. You guys seen how big his back is? Where the fuck is he supposed to put them shits? In reality, sometimes this is a much more comfortable way to train for these huge guys and a way that they can produce the most force. And because if you look at the mechanics of it, the tricep is still getting tons of tension. The chest is helping quite a bit, no big deal. So if you allot for that chest volume and fatigue in your program, this is a great way to do tricep pushdowns. And if you're looking for a variation, this is something to try for sure.
Stop touching my cord. It's my weight, not yours. And I know you're very beautiful and muscular at the same time, and so German and blonde, but stop it. No.
Folks, there's still more video to come. We have a members area with a longer, less cut, more uncut version of this video where you can get some cool insights, and there's tons of other videos available there, tons of other resources in our member section. It costs a little bit of money, but I think it's worth it. Give it a shot, click around, hit that membership subscribe button, and let's get back to the video. Oh, he's at it again. Yeah, I really like what Marcus is doing is he pulses the concentric. The lockout gets a pulse. He's not squeezing it. And at the top, he's slowing down and even pausing for a split second and then going. That means he's maximizing the amount of tension he's experiencing at the stretch, which is probably the best way to grow muscle. A lot of people are into that peak contraction where like you finish a set of push downs or a set of assisted dips or dip machine like he's using, and they really squeeze it. It turns out the squeezing's been studied pretty well, and gee whiz, it absolutely grows muscle, but stimulus to fatigue ratio wise, it probably doesn't grow as much muscle as getting a big stretch. So there's something there as his technique working quite well. Another thing people might observe about Marcus's physique is that his biceps are really big, but his triceps are not concomitantly large, like they're a weak point for him. And Marcus really, I read I think a Flex magazine or Muscular Development magazine article about him a long time ago during his prime, where he said something that really, really stuck with me, and I'd like to share it with you guys. I'm paraphrasing here, but this is the general gist. They basically asked him like, hey, like, what's up with your triceps? Like, have you tried XYZ to bring up your triceps? And he had this kind of real talk moment where he was like, yes. I've tried high reps. I've tried low reps. I've tried low volume. I've tried high volume. I've tried all the exercises you can think of. I've tried all the different cadences. And my triceps just are really resistant to growth. I train my chest and it grows no matter what. I train my triceps and it's just not a lot happens. And he's actually injured, I think, one or both of his triceps because he was pushing it so hard and they were so under recovered. But he's also tried doing less and getting them to recovery. This is just a statement of the following. Genetics is a big deal. And when some muscle of yours has not so great genetics, let me tell you a really easy way in which this could happen. Two things. One, your muscle doesn't have a lot of actual muscle cells in it as compared to others. So while the cells individually can grow, they don't multiply. And so you're kind of stuck with a certain number of cells. If you don't have a lot of muscle cells, the potential for growth is limited. And then if you have satellite cells close to the muscle cells that infiltrate and help add even more kind of volume to that area, add more nuclei and make the cells bigger. If you have a huge satellite cell pool that gets refreshed really often, then you're into some really good long-term growth. If your satellite cell pool and the responsiveness isn't very high and you don't have a lot of muscle fibers, small muscle cells to begin with, man, like there's just not a ton you could be doing with even the steroids in the world to get the biggest triceps that you can. And if you have other muscles like Marcus's traps, his chest, his delts that clearly have better genetics, because genetics are individual to the muscle as well as systemically, then there's just not anything you can realistically do to match those better muscles. And so it's easy for us, and for sure for me as a fucking asshole pedant on YouTube, to say, oh, you're doing that wrong, I'm a professor. That's nice. But it's easy for us to say, well, his triceps are small because, but hasn't he tried blah? And here's the thing. It's easy for us to say, and it's also valid because we could be right. He could have not tried something. We could have collectively or individually the secrets to muscle growth for Marcus Ruhl's triceps. But there needs to be, as I've gotten older and maybe wiser, I don't know, the illusion of wisdom has set in. There's a reverence I have for the fact that people who do things professionally, especially, and who've been at it for decades like Marcus, you can assume they've tried a lot. And I'm not saying they've tried it all. I'm not saying they're 100% correct, but don't go in there and be like, triceps are small. I could tell you why, because X, Y, Z. But do you really know that? Because you look at their Instagrams and TikToks and YouTubes, you have no idea what they do day in their life. You have no idea what they've tried before. So anytime someone asks a person who's really excited about lifting and have been lifting for 2 years and read a lot of PubMed, hey, how can you improve this bodybuilder's technique? They're like, 50 different ways. They should try this. They should do that. They should do that. That's wrong. And then you try to talk to someone who is more advanced and who's been around a lot and is very scientific and all that stuff, but has coached a lot of people, have coached themselves for a long time, have watched the sport. And you go, hey, what's this guy doing? The response is more like, I'm going to need to learn a little bit more about them. I want to talk to them about what they've tried, what they haven't tried, because they're probably the world's expert in their own body. And you can be an effective consultant to them, but like any good consultant, before you just tell people to do things, you got to get a lot of what they've tried before. Because if he said, look, I did 3 years where I did 40 sets for my triceps per week, and I saw no appreciable gains over doing like 20 sets. If you're trying to blast the volume through them and you don't know that, you could be like, dude, I got it, no problem. You're doing 20 sets, right? Easy. Let's go to 25, 30, 35, 40. All the data says you're going to grow. But if you say, I've done that before and I didn't really grow much, you're going to have to step back and go, yeah. All right, let me think this through deeper. It's an interactive method, speaking to someone and seeing what they've done, what has worked, what hasn't worked. And sometimes you might get into a place where they're like, oh, I actually haven't tried that thing. And really, this technique really seems to like stimulate. Aha, good. We found something new, and maybe it'll get some growth. But it's very easy to say, oh yeah, just do this. And you haven't known what someone like Marcus has been through, because everyone on the internet, and a lot of it's before the internet, was like, oh, Marcus, but what about his triceps? Like, shut the f up, shut up. You don't think I've tried? The RP Hypertrophy app has dozens of pre-made workout templates to help you build a plan faster than any other training software allows. But you can customize each plan exactly to your needs by prioritizing and deprioritizing any muscles you like to train, choosing the exact exercises you'd like to use, and customizing the volumes you employ at every single step of the process. If you're looking to bring up lagging muscle groups, look no further than the RP Hypertrophy app. Click on the link in the description of this video to get started.
Ich verstehe das halt auch gar nicht, warum da Leute sagen.
Oh no.
Ich habe jetzt echt nicht gedacht, dass...
It's the tuna shake, isn't it?
Yeah, so I couldn't get the translation up because it was a YouTube subtitle, but he said something like he started making this in the 90s when he had like no money.
Yeah. And you got to get the tuna in, and you're not eating it. You're just trying to drink it because you're stuffed full of rice and all this other stuff.
Das ist so spektakulär ist.
Oh, is that Urs Kalaczynski?
See.
Oh, look at two German people just being German, yeah.
Das habe ich damals jetzt weggemacht, weil ich keine hatte. Wann hast du denn das erste Mal so gesoffen?
Salt, pepper, tomato paste.
Oh.
Hot water.
I mean, you kind of want hot water, right? Because it's kind of a soup. I mean,
so he says multiple times it tastes like fish soup.
how Northern European. Good God. Oh, do you see the chunks coming out? Someone's like, is that a chocolate smoothie? You're like, yeah, sure, kid. Have one. That would be a nasty prank.
So, Schulz. Wenn jetzt mal ehrlich bist, schmeckt das gut. Das schmeckt wirklich gut.
I like how he's saying it's good while he's like fishing fish chunks out of his teeth with his tongue. I like how there's the advanced protein powders up there and they're like, okay, we're doing a tuna shake.
What do we think about the ingesting tuna in such a way?
Look, you know, tuna gets the job done. You got to be careful how much tuna you eat. In many cases, it's got a little bit of mercury in it. A little bit's okay, but if you eat tuna all the time, it's kind of a bad deal. So I would say tuna is not the greatest consistent protein source you can take in. Nowadays, protein powders, especially if you look for really good deals on Amazon, protein powder quality is not that big of a deal. If you go to any major grocery store, you go to Amazon and find some cheap whey concentrate protein powders, they're going to be comparable to tuna, if not cheaper. And great macros. You just don't have to do this kind of stuff anymore. Back in the 80s, 90s, the protein powder scene wasn't as ubiquitous. Maybe it was a thing that you could consider, a meal here and there. Am I going to tell you that like the palatability of it is high? Hell no, dude. But I will say, like, if someone's like, man, I just love food so much, and like everything I eat, I start overeating it. I'd be like, okay, I gotcha. You're going to eat plain rice cakes and tuna shake. And you're going to tell me how much of that you want to eat. I guarantee you cannot eat a lot. Good God.
All right. Yeah, that was pretty fun. We didn't even use Arnold that much. Okay, so let's see. Marcus Ruhl gets an enormous chest, enormous back, and huge shoulders out of 10.
Marcus Ruhl is a legend. I can't say anything bad about the guy. Some real cool training tips to pick up. Hopefully you guys learned something. Marcus is infinitely the man from Germany, from Deutschland. Out of 10, has all my love and respect all time. And if you ever want a good time, get you some eyes on the documentary of Marcus Ruhl, Big and Loving It. It is hardcore bodybuilding, wet dream. And I'll say no more. And I'll see you guys next time. All right, that was very German, yeah. Hopefully I can still do the Arnold voice again because I probably overdid it this time. JK. Anyway, right here's a video you guys might want to click on for more fun. If not, see you next time.